confidence is there. Hope is back for Nigeria.
Barely a week after sealing a landmark deal with the United Arab Emirates, UAE, on the margins of the Abuja Sustainability Week, President Bola Tinubu was set for another diplomatic shuttle. This time, he headed for a transcontinental country, the Republic of Turkey. The Nigerian presidential flight 001 landed at the Ankara Esenboya airport. A Turkish delegation led by the Minister of National Education, Yusuf Tekin, was on ground to receive a Nigerian leader. And to the main day at the Cumhur Başkanlığı Kuleyi, the Turkish presidential complex for the historic events. The largest African country is to strengthen its ties with a nation European country. President Bola Tinubu is picking it up from where his predecessor left it in 2021 when President Recep Tayyip Erdogan last visited Nigeria. With a cavalcade leading en route to the presidential complex, this would be a befitting reception for the president of the largest black nation in the world. Members of the Nigerian delegation were well ahead for these strategic engagements aimed at strengthening the existing cordial relations between the two countries and exploring further areas of cooperation in security, education, social development, innovation, and aviation. The host President Erdogan demonstrated his love and respect for his visiting counterpart with a receptive hand. The military guard here gave its all in honor of their guest. The two leaders proceeded for private talks with focus on political and diplomatic discussions on shared values in finance, communication, trade, and investments. Simultaneously, were also parallel ministerial bilateral discussions. Nigerian Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo engaged with his Turkish counterpart. Women Affairs Minister Iman Suleiman Ibrahim also had a session with a local counterpart, while Ministers of Justice, Finance, Science and Technology and Minister of State Industry engaged in discussions on trade matters.
Excellency, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And then, the wide-ranging bilateral meeting. Purposeful steps towards a new height in the Nigerian-Turkish relations. President Tinubu and his chief host, President Erdogan, leading their respective teams as they decided on a new chapter full of pages of promises.
His Excellency, distinguished President of Nigeria, esteemed guests, we will commence the exchange ceremony of the agreement between the Republic of Turkey and the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Now, Months of engagements would end up in a historic signing of 9 agreements.
And Foreign Affairs Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu will be...
Both countries now have new level of cooperations in the fields of diaspora policy, media and communication, higher education, quality infrastructure, declaration establishing economy and trade joint committee, agreements on defense cooperation, foreign affairs academy, and cooperation on development of women and social welfare.
Minister of Women Affairs, Imam Suleiman Ibrahim.
These agreements are strategic as they come. They are fundamental towards shoring up the trade volume between the two countries, currently at $2 billion. The Republic of Turkey exports wares such as planes, helicopters, machineries, iron and steel, and chemical products to Nigeria, while Nigeria exports crude oil and agricultural products to Turkey. Both presidents made commitments to the new level of cooperations.
Nigeria is not only a friendly country to us, but with its population of 230 million, it is also one of our closest trading partners in sub-Saharan Africa. Nigeria is also a strategically important country with which we are in close cooperation on many issues concerning the Islamic world, particularly Palestine, within the framework of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and the D8 organization. Today, we conducted a comprehensive review of our relations with the esteemed President and his valuable delegation in the fields of trade, investments, energy, education, and defense industry. In this context, I observe with satisfaction that, as is the case on our side, there is a strong political will and determination on the Nigerian side as well. The fact that distinguished President is accompanied by several ministers and high-ranking officials is the clearest indication of this political determination. Firstly, we see that we have significant potential in the fields of trade and investment. In today's meetings, we reaffirmed our commitment to the target of a $5 billion trade volume, and we discussed the steps that need to be taken. We also discussed opportunities to support our investments in Nigeria. We believe that the Joint Economic and Trade Committee, which we agreed to establish today, will be instrumental in this regard and that it will lead to auspicious outcomes. When it comes to development cooperation, with the opening of an office in Abuja for our Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency, TICA, we wish to contribute to the welfare of our Nigerian brothers and sisters. As you would be aware, Nigeria is Africa's largest producer of oil and natural gas. Since the year 2023, when President Tinubu came to power, the energy sector has played a significant role in its initiatives to restructure the country's economy. We also wish to evaluate the potential in this field in terms of both investments and commercial aspects, and we attach importance to the cooperation between Turkish Petroleum Corporation and Potash with their Nigerian counterparts, organizations. Dear members of the press, terrorist organizations emerging particularly in Africa's Sahel region, unfortunately, pose a threat to the peace of the entire continent. We stand by the friendly people of Nigeria in their fight against terrorism under the leadership of President Tinubu. In fact, today, we addressed opportunities for closer cooperation in the fields of military training and intelligence. We stated that we are ready to share our country's significant experience in the fight against terrorism. Also, I believe that we will soon see positive outcomes from the meetings that Nigerian officials will hold with our leading defense industry companies during this visit.
Thank you for listening here. Willing to collaborate, willing to help, willing to work together to promote freedom, stability, and prosperity, shared prosperity across the world. What is very important to the two countries being discussed? Trade business, avoidance of taxation, no restrictions, lowering a given opportunity to those who are ready to learn, work, and prosper. How do we build an inclusive economy together? That's what we discuss. How do we reform and get everybody, vulnerable people in particular, involved in our economies? How do we develop this country, give peace and stability to the world, and particularly the necessary peace and stability of the continent of Africa? Nigeria is the heart of that and is surrounded by instabilities, challenges. We've discussed that. We've discussed effort at terrorism, discussed how we could defeat elements of destabilization, banditry, and horror. We will work together to achieve that. I thank you, my brother. Sincerely, your commitment to democracy, freedom, and development of a very, very needy people, the vulnerable around the world, is commendable. Your effort in Somalia is noted, well noted. And I count on you. Take it to the bank. You can bet on me that I will be there with you for democracy, freedom, and prosperity.
With similar experiences in the fight against terrorism, Nigeria and Turkey decided to act immediately on their defense cooperation.
We want to see those low-hanging fruits that we'll be able to take up as quickly as possible. Both presidents have agreed that it is important that we hasten what we're doing together and make it work. And so we, on our own part, we're taking up from there. The signing of the agreements has made it very, very clear that time shouldn't be wasted. We need to move on, and that's what we want to do.
So what should Nigerians expect from this?
More efforts, because, like I said, because we're not producing most of the equipment we needed, had been a difficult aspect in fighting terrorism. Now we're going to get a lot of this equipment from here. Eventually, again, they're going to come down, establish in Nigeria, we produce together so that we too can build our own capacity. So it's a win-win thing for both countries. It's a win-win thing for Nigerians. So I just want to appeal to Nigerians to remain steadfast. The president is working extremely very hard. That's why he's here, and you can see the people, the pedigree of the office of the executive members that came here to show you the commitment. And as we always said, it's not only the kinetic, the non-kinetic, and that's why we have the Ministry of Women Affairs and other social aspects, because it's a holistic thing in winning the firefight.
The issues we're now looking at is security, right? Coming here has also been an eye-opener. Turkey is a country that produces its defense articles, so we're trying to ensure that they also partner with DICON, so that the whole DICON in strong partnership so that DICON can also start producing locally. And committees have been set up to ensure that all this is brought into fruition.
And of course, we have some challenges within the border space. So we believe that with the agreement today, a lot will be done in that regard. And also, we also spoke about the issue of visa, ease of visa between our two countries. And I think we're making serious progress. And we're almost there on that particular one. And I can tell you that grounds have been shifted. And I think this collaboration will ensure that visa becomes more of a trade facilitation document, So, and I think we're making serious progress on that front. Well, what I can see is trust, they trust this president. They believe in Mr. President. They believed every word, not just every word, every alphabet that came out of his mouth. They believed him, and they're ready to invest their trust, in Nigeria, collaborating across board, and of course, I say there's a new lease of life, new level of understanding, and it's about the credibility of Mr. President that's also coming to play for each and every one of us. So I think the sincerity is there, and I think they've shown the commitment, and Mr. President too spoke from the heart.
The two countries ultimately targeting a $5 billion trade volume between them. They agree that the effort must resume in earnest towards achieving the target.
Real commitment was made to putting in place the framework, the agreements, investment promotion and protection, double taxation treaty, as well as a JETCO, a joint economic trade committee that will work specifically to build up trade. And of course, we must remember that in this day and age of bilateralism, you do and aggregation, we do need new trading partners, new markets, new opportunities, and of course new investments. And that, I think, at the end of the day, is what both presidents and both administrations committed to: more trade and investment between them, and they are both key players in the global south. So as the Western world, as the rich world is focusing on perhaps spending money on arms, spending less on concessional financing, spending less on development, these countries of the global south are coming together. And of course, Turkey is in fact well over a $1 trillion economy, and Nigeria has been set by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu the task of getting to a $1 trillion economy. So there were many areas of common interest, and it's a very worthwhile visit led by Mr. President to Turkey.
There was an agreement on scientific research and development in the course of the Nigeria-Turkish bilateral relations and agreement today, particularly as it relates to using research outcomes to solve problems in Nigeria, security problems, agricultural issues, on food security, and other things. So, Nigeria is high on education and research, but the focus is on transforming research outcomes to commercially viable products to solve our national problems. And Turkey is one nation that has actually become advanced in turning research outcomes to products and marketing this across the world. So part of the agreement we had today is to design an action plan between Nigeria and Turkey to support with taking research outcomes, turning them into commercially viable products in different sectors of our economy as part of the renewed hope agenda of bringing Nigerian economy to a $1 trillion benchmark. So this is just part of what we're able to achieve today. A lot will actually come because Turkey is quite enthusiastic about partnering with Nigeria across the sectors, especially as it relates to science, technology, and innovation. My counterpart here, incidentally, is industry and innovation that it's called, because Turkey has this seamless connection between their innovation, their research, and their industry. And of course, since I took office as minister, that's been my focus, to ensure that we do not just do research and it follow on research labs in papers, but we transform these things. Well, because we have innovators in Nigeria. We have very intelligent people. So it's now to transform these inventions, our intelligence, into products. And we've seen it happen even in the fintech. Now we want to cascade this, scale it up across. And with what we've done today with Turkey, we believe that we would begin to achieve this very noble vision that we have.
We've engaged extensively, so we've been able to come out with very concrete plans on how we can be able to strengthen our family agenda of Mr. President. As part of our Family First agenda, we're trying to strengthen our social workforce. We're trying to emplace a strong social cohesion strategy that will protect not just the family unit, but in turn strengthen our communities and also provide us social and economic opportunities for our women, the vulnerable, the elderly at large. So today the MOU revolves around the family, the children, women's economic empowerment, access to all sorts of, financial and, financial literacy, access to market, and also cultural exchange between the two parties, because we work closely together, know more about each other, so that we can even respect and love each other better.
And Turkey has a lot of mining engineering expertise, a lot of procurement expertise, a lot of construction engineering expertise. And so we want to leverage on all of this with Turkey to come in, make investments in the solid mineral sector of Nigeria, and of course, we're looking towards local value addition, which is core and is central to our own policy in Nigeria on solid minerals.
We had the business forum between Nigeria and the Turkish business people. Can you tell us a bit of what transpired at that event?
Well, you know that, it's the hallmark of any presidential visit, like the state visit, is normally the amount, of investments, the amount of trading that is able to attract, for country. So to cap the state visit, today, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, under the auspices of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, as well as the Nigeria-Turkish, business roundtable, organized a business roundtable that had, in attendance, lots and lots of, the Turkish businessmen and women. It also had in attendance some Nigerian companies as well.
What are the major outcomes from that event?
Well, I think that, at yesterday's high-level meeting, the commitment and the aspiration is that Nigeria, Turkish, trade volume should grow to, up to $5 billion from the present about $2.2 billion. And I think that, the outcome of today's business roundtable is that commitment by various companies, to come to Nigeria, to come to invest, to come to set up factories, to come to set up companies, and to see how they can drive trade and growth, in accordance to this aspiration.
From 2 billion, aiming at $5 billion US, that's, for me, very ambitious. And again, the two presidents showed their interest regarding this, and part of the agreement is setting up of a committee, joint committee on economy and trade. Tell us how that will facilitate these targets.
Exactly. One of the MOUs that was signed yesterday was the MOU on joint, between, the Economic and Trade Committee, between the two countries, So it's, and that MOU basically is to enable, this target. As far back as 1996, Nigeria had a trade, agreement, with Turkey, so what happened yesterday is to add the component of economic cooperation, so when you have, the two countries have realized the fact that from 1990s to today there are missing gaps, and these gaps need to be closed in. That's why the Economic and Trade, Committee was set up. And the contents of this have to do with the fact that the two countries have to continue to engage and to explore possibilities of seeing how they can better benefit from this cooperation and this collaboration and this partnership, economically and trade-wise.
The diaspora cooperation is about both countries mutually cooperating in the areas of diaspora policy, implementation, and then areas of investments, science, technology, innovation, entrepreneurship, education, and a whole lot of things. We have a huge amount of Nigerians here, students, entrepreneurs that are here. So we're going to have better cooperation, people to people. And we have a diaspora commission. They have a ministry for Turkish abroad here in Turkey. So the institutions are already there. The two institutions will work together, our own diaspora commission and their own ministry for Turks abroad. So it's the first MOU that even the commission will be signing. So this is history in the making under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And 9 MOUs at a go. It's phenomenal. So we look forward to ensuring this works. The Nigerians here are already excited about this MOU, so we're going to be working with them, and we're sure that it will have a very positive impact.
The journey from $2 billion to the immediate target of a $5 billion trade volume begins now. But most significantly, the common target of both leaders is to work the journey together towards a safer world and more prosperity for their peoples.